Good morning, my co-learners and co-learning facilitators. Firstly, thank you for your participation in the survey. And secondly, thank you for your attendance in this event to listen and react later to my presentation. Also, thank you to the United Board, particularly the Faculty Development team, for giving me the opportunity to work with them in this survey on the faculty development practices of selected higher education institutions in Asia. The task was both a challenge in the conduct of an online survey during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and a learning experience about how United Board-related institutions in Asia designed and implemented the respective faculty development programs. Indeed, it is a privilege and I deeply honor the trust. Broadly defined, faculty development refers to a carefully designed program to prepare, equip, recharge, and assist faculty members, new and old, to improve their performance, their mandated functions of teaching, research and publication, and community engagement or service. Several factors may affect faculty development program design, and these include the institution's priorities, human capacities, physical resources, and faculty population size that may vary according to their locations and the aim of responding to the goal of whole-person education. Therefore, the initial step of examining the practices of higher education institutions may help in identifying the ways in addressing the skills needed by faculty to scholarly satisfy their functions of knowledge production, and that is through research, dissemination, through teaching, and utilization in the form of community service. Of the 46 higher education institutions that positively responded to the invitation about the survey, a total of 71 respondents answered the online semi-structured questionnaire using Google Form and through emails. Majority were females, had doctorate degrees, and mostly coming from the higher education institutions in Southeast Asia. The Philippines had the highest number of respondents from this region. There were equal numbers of respondents from North and South Asia. About 49% of independent offices where teaching, research, and service functions are supervised by separate heads but under one head, like the Vice President for Academic Affairs. The 51% have combined offices overseeing 2 to 3 functions. Under the combined offices, the majority of the respondents were from offices that administer the 3 functions of teaching, research, and service, as compared to those with other combinations of any of the 3 functions. From the reviews of related literature, a total of 24 specific practices were clustered into 3, from which the respondents identified what they have in their institutions with provision of a space where they can also write other not pre-identified practices. Interestingly, the practices they identified had more or less corresponded to those pre-listed practices, but only termed differently. The 3 clusters, which already included activities provided by the respondents, are those activities that capacitate them more in the 3 functions. Those initiatives that advance and sustain the faculty growth, and those opportunities that incentivize faculty development. The latter may encourage more faculty members to willfully avail of the program. As a sequential model of faculty development based on activities is evident, which may have been determined also by the resources of the institutions. Capacitation was given more attention first, then professional advancement for the continued growth of faculty, and the provision of incentives to sustain the levels of faculty performance. And about 85% of the respondents had offices that pursued several ways to capacitate faculty members, while 70% of the same respondents identified how faculty members were assisted to professionally grow through continuing education supports. But only about 88% admitted to having extended incentives to deserving faculty members, which could be due to monetary considerations. Among the main capacitation activities identified were the orientation of newly hired faculty on their functions, the performance targets of their institutions, and the development opportunities available to them. Being informed about current trends in the academia and aware of institutional goals and directions in teaching, research, and service would guide faculty members in performing their mandated functions with the administration support. These were done through workshops and collaborative projects within their institutions. Meanwhile, tapping experts were commonly identified as means to enrich the teaching, research, and service skills of faculty members. But some of these activities to professionally advance faculty quality was not commonly conducted because of the financial resources needed, like in the hosting of visiting scholars or adjunct professors. Specifically, having visiting scholars or adjunct professors may be designed where they teach some courses with the recent faculty as co-teachers, which likewise may extend to some collaborative research and community projects. The provision of scholarships for advanced degrees is not also popular unless the faculty can avail of financial support from the government or private institutions. The provision of incentives, which was not popularly reported, came in the form of promotion or designation to administrative position, funds for travel, grants to implement projects, and so on. Again, budgetary constraints may be a problem to support other incentives for improving the scholarships of faculty, such as giving of awards, reducing teaching loads, designating professorial chair positions, and providing sabbatical leaves with pay. Consistently, the respondents from independent offices reported giving various capacitation activities, professional advancement opportunities, and incentives to reinforce the first two clusters of faculty development initiatives. But the 40% of the respondents did not report any of the pre-listed incentives. In general, the teaching function receive more attention in the capacitation activities and professional advancement opportunities, except in the provision of incentives, which uh, uh, it almost equally shared with the research functions. The reason may be either the faculty were not interested in research or they have limited time to engage in research and write publishable journal articles or book chapters. Incidentally, this was not pursued in the survey, but related studies would tell that teaching overloads discourage research undertakings and publication among faculty members, particularly of small colleges or universities. Both the independent and combined offices were described to offer convenient and creative planning and efficient implementation of faculty development activities. These offices were already good. Moreover, most respondents further considered the independent offices to have also provided more time, attention, and resources at their disposal. Similarly, most respondents from combined offices said that their work structure offered opportunities that they would be involved with the other functions through proper coordination. Thus, it cannot be refuted that limited coordination with other offices, as noted by some respondents, could be a major disadvantage or problem of independent offices, despite these already had good features internal to the structure. On the other hand, combined offices respondents also admitted something negative of their office organization. They were burdened when several tasks were assigned to them to undertake, or they were preoccupied with so many activities that often resulted in management problems and delays. But the pandemic grossly disrupted the operation of higher education institutions because the face-to-face teaching learning process was suspended to prevent viral infection and transmission. Work from home or teach from home modality with a significant platform was instituted. They also had to modify their learning modules to fit to virtual teaching. Because of these changes, the respondents expressed the need to acquire more information and communication technology or ICT equipment for facilitating the teaching learning process and conducting research during the pandemic due to the limitations imposed by government health protocols. The ICT equipment was also needed in training through webinars of faculty members across the three functions because of the fragile situation brought about by the pandemic. Consistent with this, the respondents likewise expressed the need for sufficient financial support to purchase ICT equipment and facilities to enhance internet connectivity and improve access to sources of information for teaching, research, and service that became more challenging due to the pandemic. Thus, skills training in using ICT is one area that needs support, as well as the implementation of the learned skills of harmonizing the three functions during the pandemic or even beyond the crisis. It is true that independent offices have more faculty development activities, but these are focused on specific individual functions, that is only in teaching, research, or service. But even combined offices may not be able to integrate their activities if coordination is not yet a norm. The perceived poor coordination among the different offices or personal tasks to enhance the skills of faculty in the three mandated functions suggests that an integrated scholarship model is something to be pursued yet by higher education institutions. The goal is to provide the institutional structure and resources for integration at the department, college, and university levels to nurture such academic culture in every faculty member. Well-coordinated faculty development activities prevent task overload in the case of the combined offices or disconnect among the activities in the case of independent offices, although aim to enrich the three functions of faculty. Thus, the more relevant point to examine, which was not, however, the focus of the survey, is how coordination among the units involved could be made more efficient through integrated scholarship. This type of scholarship exemplifies a meaningful infusion of research outputs of a faculty member into teaching and community service, which subsequently flow back to enrich further teaching quality. An excellent take-off point is from what Matthews and others wrote that the integrated scholarship model joins together institutional learning communities to discover, communicate, and apply new knowledge across disciplines. Therefore, the aim of integration is to balance the efforts exerted and the quality of the outputs or performance of faculty as scholars through the efficient utilization of resources across offices for maximum gains in knowledge production, dissemination, and application. So my take of the survey result is on the relevance of service learning. It's not only a pedagogy for experiential learning, but also a platform for the meaningful integration of teaching, research, and service functions. A well-designed service learning that is true to its principles with solid institutional support in policies, logistics, and incentives will inspire every faculty member to demonstrate the interconnectedness of their mandated functions. Moreover, the integration will empower students who have learned not only from the classroom with their teachers as models, but also with the community they serve, according to the whole person education philosophy. Thus, the integration of scholarship, starting at the institutional level through the faculty development program, is not only for the faculty, but also for the students through service learning. Again, I am grateful to the assistance of Dr. Hope Antoni, Director of Faculty Development, and Ms. Connie Chong, Program Assistant of the United Board that made this survey possible. Well, take note that the review of those really, literature, actually these were published before the pandemic. So it's quite interesting to find out what happened, to other schools. But uh, per per analysis of the data, it shows that somehow things were still, being conducted in the field through, as what some of the respondents said, through the use of ICT. So although it's not perfectly done, but somehow there are ways by which communities, and when we talk about communities, we're not always talking about a particular geographic unit, but it could be a group, no? So depending on the resources also of those communities, they were connected by technology, but it's not really perfect compared to when we have the face to face. So I think that's what you're trying to ask, how these are still facilitated, the three scholarships. Well, of course, teaching went on as it goes on also this time. Some have face to face, some have blended, some are still in technology mediated modality. Extension, depending on what kind of service we have. If it's technology mediated, it's still happening. In my case, I'm already doing face-to-face, working with women in fishing communities, and we're also conducting studies alongside with our community service. Yeah, I hope that give a gist in what's happening. In terms of matrix, we did not also explore that one. There were really not much of limitations. In fact, originally, the survey could have been, done in a way we're able to talk or pursue further. But then we're doing it online. There's certain limitation really. So we did not go or went into exploring the matrix on how their scholarships are being measured. I think that's one of my recommendation, that if there were schools that have successful integration, they can come together and talk about this, and it's going to be a source of valuable information how they're doing it. Uh, for sure, there are some schools that already tried to integrate. It may be at a personal level, not necessarily at this institutional level. Uh, but that's really, that's really a good suggestions of coming together and to talk about it face to face. Actually, that's also my major concern. No, we could not ask everyone to do equally the same thing. No, because not everyone is good in all these three functions. Uh, that's why what I'm as director now, I'm trying to do some kind of clustering, that people who are good in research lead particular cluster and invite those who are not very good. At least they might be enticed to go into research also. And there is one thing also that I thought of, that perhaps those who are very good in research may have a reduced load, and they engage more in research and then invite those others. Uh, those who are good in teaching, they have to do more in teaching, but they should not forget about research and service. What I mean, therefore, is it may not be of equal proportion. It should be distributed according to interest and capabilities, but never avoiding all those three functions. And mentoring is a very important point here. Uh, the thing, therefore, is if I were good in research, my output could still be used by another faculty who I collaborate in my project in teaching. And therefore, there is still that integration coming out from such kind of collaborative undertaking. So I could call it clustering or mentoring design. But that's still, I'm just imagining that one, if that was possible, because that, again, it's going to have some financial implications to the institution.